All right, we are live, and I'm excited to be here today. This is Todd Cahill on the You vs. You show, and I'm the author of the book, You vs. You, the 12 Ways to Kick Your Own Ass and Win. And on this show, we really help and really just show you how you can win the battle within yourself. And we have amazing people that come on this show and really offer their 2 cents, if you will, and advice and inspiration. And we only select people that are just awesome. So that really are inspiring the masses. They live a life of integrity, and they really do what they say they're going to do. So I'm excited today to have Cheri Toftdahl on the phone or on the Zoom with us, whatever you want to call this. This interview, obviously live all over Facebook, YouTube, and again, we're going to be on our Instagram after this is recorded. But I'm so excited to have Cheri. She is from the Arizona, but I believe in the Scottsdale area. And we're going to just interview her because she has so much value to add. She's a leadership coach. She's a go-getter. She's an initiator. She makes things happen. And she has a unique story. So especially if you're a woman watching this in any of those channels that I just mentioned, I believe that you're going to get so much value tonight from this wonderful person that I've had the honor just in a just few short weeks to really coach, get to know her. She got started in the Inside Out Institute as one of our founding members. And it's just been such a pleasure getting to know her so far. So Cheri, thanks so much for being on the show today. Thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate you. I want to start off just by asking you if you could just share a little about your background and your story with all of us and a little bit of context of what you do and what you did before you joined the Inside Out Institute.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much, Todd, for having me on tonight. I'm so excited and I super, super appreciate it. So thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, my name is Cheri. Somebody the other day called me like a jack of all trades. Like when people ask what I do or what I've done, it's like so broad. I have a degree in healthcare, but that really didn't vibe with me. And so I worked in the service hospitality industry for a long time. I did everything from bartending to, being a GM. And I absolutely loved it. Like I loved the meeting new people and I loved my coworkers and I loved just how like fast paced everything was. But it's a hard industry to be in, nights, weekends, and I was, during that whole time I was married, I got married, had this like amazing little boy, totally awesome kid. And it wasn't ideal though. I was working tons and tons of hours, missing family time, he was little and it just, something had to give, something had to break. And I always say, fortunately, unfortunately, it was my marriage, it's never a good thing when a marriage comes to an end, but sometimes it is for the best, And my ex-husband is an amazing guy. He's a wonderful father. He's just, I can't say enough good things about him. Like, but we weren't good together, and so we separated. And from that point, it was just me and my son. And it's not that he wasn't in my son's life or our son's life. He's still totally active. He has my son on the weekends and they go camping and they do all this fun stuff. But it's hard being the sole provider for your household, right? And so it was like back to the drawing board. Like, what do I do? Working nights and weekends isn't ideal, especially, if I want to be that PTO mom. And so I started down this personal development rabbit hole,
Okay. Yeah.
On it or been on it knows, like, you read one book and then it's like you have to have another, and then it just explodes after that,
right?
And so I got into leadership development and network marketing and didn't look back. I started on this spiritual journey with yoga and meditation and so kind of from there.
Right. So tell me about this. So were you introduced to this in your past, or because of this unfortunate thing that a lot of people do have to go through? And even if it's for the best, divorce is, even if it's for the best, it's always hard. It's not easy. And they say the most stressful thing in someone's life is, number one, the death of a loved one. And then number 2, divorce. And then number 3 is separation from a spouse. So 50% of America goes through that. Okay. So it's very stressful. But at the same time, there's some good that happens and some transformational periods in our lives. I mean, I've been divorced too and remarried, and I went through my own transformation. So was this through that experience that you started to kind of rise up and see yourself maybe differently, getting some more courage and self-confidence? And tell me a little bit about that experience when it came to your personal growth choices.
Yeah. So you're definitely right. It happened kind of as I was going through. I think it's a natural thing when you're going through divorce or separation. It's like, who am I? You kind of have to figure out who you are again.
Yeah.
You've identified as a certain way for so long, or even for a short amount of time, you've identified as a certain way or as a certain person, so I went on this journey of like finding myself again. And so it really did start after I had separated from my son's father. And I went on this journey of like self-love and really finding out who I am and what my purpose was, and getting to know what my passions are, and starting a business and all these things. And, it kind of just flowed from there. Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that I had, the best opportunities possible for, not only myself, but my son, because essentially I can't be the mom for him if I'm not the person for me.
Exactly.
You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of the masses.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I want to get to the meat. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of things, because the reason I'm excited to have you on, and this might be offensive to people watching. I'm not trying to be offensive at all, but there is a different mindset when it comes to you, from my own experience, because you are a single mom, right?
Right. We talked about this.
Yeah. And I want to get right into it, because there's this stigma, especially with women, because I don't really hear a lot of guys saying, "Oh my God, life is so hard. I'm a single dad." It doesn't really happen in men, but it does happen in women, which means it's this entitlement. And I'm not saying being a mom is easy. It's not easy at all. And being a single parent is obviously very difficult, 100%, no question. But I do hear kind of that the women saying, I don't have money, I can't afford it, I'm a single mom, and that's it. It's like, I can't afford it because I'm a single mom. Right. But then here's you. And, you are a single mom, but you don't make excuses. You make things happen. You're also a model, and you are in fashion, and you also are a leadership coach. You're building your social media. I mean, there's so many things and facets that you do. So tell me a little bit about your own philosophy, that you're single at this moment and you're also a mom, as opposed to labeling yourself. And what's the harm when, even as a man or a woman, that we give ourselves a label? What's the detriment sometimes through labels?
Oh man, you trap yourself in this box. I don't like to be trapped in a box. If somebody wants to see like Cheri come out, like tell me I can't do something, because I'm the first person to be like, hold my beer, here we go. And so for a long time, even when I was creating the avatar for my business and everything, it was like, well, who do you identify with? And somebody had said, well, you're a single mom. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a mom who just happens to be single.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times when you identify as a single mom, or you say, or a single parent, it has this feeling of lack and hardship and struggle. And I didn't want to be associated with that, because that's not me. And I didn't want to have that mindset, Now, there have definitely been times, like I've played the mom card, where it's like, hey, do you want to go out? Or, hey, let's go. And I'm like, oh, I can't. Have my son.
That's fun. I played the parent card too, which, it's a good thing. That's cool. Yeah, but
as far as like actually like doing something, like it's never an excuse. Like being a single parent, I don't consider myself a single parent. I'm just a mom who happens to be single, right? I'm just that mom that's not married. My ex-husband is super supportive. I have a great family system, and it's all about your mindset, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be put in this box of you can't do it. I go by, well, this feels right, so I'm going to figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
Say
Oh,
yes and then figure out all those details like down the road.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like you have a great attitude when it comes to your ex too, because, obviously we have people that not only are single parent, but then they're also blamers, they're victims. And I feel like America, especially right now, it's all about victims. I'm a victim. I'm a
So
victim.
much.
I'm a victim.
Yeah.
Give me gifts. Give me blah, blah, blah. And it's this emotional baggage and trauma that so many people have from their past. And they just feel like, I want a free lunch. I want a free, this. I want this.
Yeah.
Why, my spouse needs to do my ex. And it just, we put ourselves in such a traumatic position when we're always blaming someone else. And once we take full responsibility, even if it's not our fault, we actually empower ourselves. So if anyone's watching this that wants to be like, look, if you ever been cheated on, cool, okay, whatever. It's like, that's not because of you. Like
Right.
Like they did that, right? Or if you ever been lied to, okay, well, you didn't do it. So, you got to like create this space where no one can hurt you. But so many people are hurt by other people's actions. We're going to be hurt by people's actions for the rest of our lives because no one's perfect. So how did you make that conscious leadership shift for you to be like, just cool with your ex and just cool with being a single mom and just living life and saying yes to things and being in the moment?
Right.
Like, is that something that just came naturally to you, or was it a book or a podcast? I mean, where did that come from, for your attitude?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I've always been pretty hard-headed and determined. Like, I've just always, Cheri does what Cheri does until Cheri decides that's not what Cheri does.
Right.
But I've always believed that you can't you can't manifest like badass shit. Like, you can't be like the ultimate person that you're meant to be if you have that victim mentality, right? Like, if you're in that victim mentality, then that's what you're going to attract.
Right.
And so I believe in stepping into your full power, and you can't live or be in your full power if you're playing the blame game or, being a victim. And at the end of the day, when it comes to, families and divorce and separation, it ends up hurting the kids. And my ex-husband and I decided that the number one thing, our number one priority would always be our son. And so there have been times, I'm sure he's had to take the high road on things and be like, oh, okay.
Sure.
I know I had to too, like, take the high road and be like, at the end of the day, does this really matter? Because our son comes first. And I talk about love a lot, and I like openly say it, like, that I still love my ex-husband. Like, I'm not in love with him. There's no like romantic feelings or anything there, but I still have all this love and joy for him. And I wish him nothing but amazing, beautiful, awesome things, because the better that he is, the better that my son's life is.
That's powerful.
And because I want like amazing things for my son, I want amazing things for his dad and his fiance, like soon to be wife. I want them to have like the best marriage ever, because then that's modeled for my son. And
so how do we be the bigger person? Because I know, like, it's easier said than done, and not every divorce or broken relationship is going to end maybe like yours did. I know a lot of it was probably just your choice. You just being like, you know what, I'm just going to be positive. I'm not going to be the victim. But how can we make better choices? Just how any like wisdom that you can share, because unfortunately, many marriages ended in divorce in a very bad way. There's a lot of hate and contempt and jealousy, and especially even after they get remarried, and especially if there are kids involved, it's this like, I'm going to ruin their marriage. I'm going to ruin that. You don't know the man or woman that they really are. And it's just like, that's not giving anyone inner peace. So I would just say, like, from your own experience, because one of the things that you want to talk about today is like living, like not living in the moment so much, but just like why everything that you do really matters. So like these conscious choices that you're making, why does it matter so much for the potential, the great potential in our future, making these wise choices now?
Yeah, it does. I say it all the time. Like, what you do matters. Like, I
Mhm.
love Andy Andrews, and he has a whole book on like the decisions that you make and how powerful those thoughts and those decisions and those actions are. And so I'm a huge like what you do matters, the thoughts that you have, you know, the
Mhm.
intentions that you put behind things. Like all that is incredibly important to me. Um, you know, so at the end of the day, like divorce sometimes is super sucky, you know, and
Yeah.
I feel like I was just really fortunate that, you know, it all kind of just worked out. But at the end of the day, your thoughts create your intentions. You create your own reality, you know, and I have boundaries like nobody else.
Mhm.
You know, I have a safe space and, you know, I'm not afraid to create boundaries with people and with thoughts and emotions and, you know, stuff like that as well. And
Mhm.
so I feel like that really, really helped me a lot. But at the end of the day, what you put out, you get back. I 100% believe
Mhm.
that, you know, whether it's love, whether it's forgiveness. And it's it's hard to forgive somebody and
Yeah.
not receive anything back. Like, you know, they say the hardest thing is to forgive somebody who doesn't think they need it, or, you know, but
Right.
you don't forgive somebody for them. You forgive them for you because that shit eats you alive. And
Yeah, it
it's not
does.
worth it. Like it's toxic, it's poison, right? Like it's like a
Yeah.
snake bite. The bite doesn't kill you, but the venom will. And it's
Absolutely.
like holding on to that anger and that bitterness. And sometimes you just gotta let shit go, and it's hard and you have to do the work and you have to dig deep. And you know, sometimes you need help. Like I've had a lot of coaches and a lot of mentors, you know,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you know, there's no shame in being like, I need help. Like somebody help me,
100%.
you know,
Well,
like
let's get to that question in a second, you know, mentors and stuff, but I wanna ask you one last question before we
mm,
dive into the coaching, the mentors, why
yeah.
seeking that is powerful. Self-confidence, and you being a woman. I coach a lot of women. 80% of our clientele is women, which I'm
Mm,
so grateful. I love working with women. It's like my favorite thing. No offense to guys, but guys are sometimes a little bit harder because they're just like straight to the point, and you can't
yeah.
really get the depth of a guy as much as you can with a woman.
True.
But a lot of the times, women will come to me that I coach, and they're just like,
Mhm.
you know, the number one thing that they do struggle with is their lack of self confidence. So, you know, maybe they have been through divorce, and they maybe take it on themselves. Like, it's my fault. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't a good housewife enough. I wasn't good enough for him. Okay.
Mhm.
Or her. But tell me a little bit about the importance in your life about having self confidence, and how did you create that where you can have that kind of confidence to set boundaries? Because with confident people comes boundaries. When
Yeah.
you're not confident, you're always a people pleaser, and you're saying yes to everyone, and that's what really kills even more of your self-confidence. So tell me a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, it for me, and I really truly believe for everybody, it comes down to self-love. Like you can't love somebody fully until you love yourself. You can't forgive somebody, you can't have
Right.
boundaries. You can't do all that until you fully 100% love and accept yourself. And you know, I feel like, especially as women, we are so hard on ourselves. Like, oh, I
Hmm.
gained weight. Oh, I didn't have time to go to the gym. Oh, I had, you know, cookies. Oh, I have wrinkles. Like, I
Yeah.
call these like my little what the fuck lines. I'm like, hated, you know, like,
Right.
but like you could like, you know, oh, I'm starting to get wrinkles. You know, I don't look as good as I did when I was 20. And I just feel like as women, we are so hard on ourselves. And you
Hmm.
just, it's so important to love yourself. And
Yeah.
one thing I learned a long time ago is, you know, everybody talks about affirmations and, you know, getting up and saying, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful. And those are amazing. Those are awesome. It's
Hmm.
definitely good to do. But if you're not willing to receive your own self love, if you don't give yourself and your subconscious permission, then they're just empty words, you know? And so when I first started on this journey, I gave myself permission. You know, I told my subconscious, you know, I am willing to love myself. You know, I
Hmm.
am willing to receive love. And for a long time, you know, if anybody said, you know, gave me a compliment, inside my head, I would be like, yeah, you do. If it's so natural for us when somebody compliments us to immediately throw a compliment back. But instead, I would say, thank you. And I would say to myself in my head, yeah, your ass does look good in these jeans. Or, yeah, you know what? Like,
receive it. Yeah.
is on point. Like, I would receive it. And I think that was a huge thing was, learning to receive it. And then also understanding that I don't work out because I have to be thin. I work out because I love my body and I want to be healthy and I want to go play in the yard with my son without being winded. I eat salads and I love salads because they're good for me. I don't eat garbage food, not because, I think it's bad and I punish myself, but because I genuinely don't want it. Because I love my body. My body's like a temple and it's sacred. And you don't take trash into a temple. So I don't attract that. That's where my boundaries come in.
Right. Well, even as a man too, like, let's say, you're doing that and you're a single woman, right? And you're not even looking for a relationship, but at the same time, the relationship is looking for you because you are attracting it. I mean, some people might not want a relationship. There are people that just want to be single, and that's totally fine. And I understand that. But like, let's say someone does want to be in a relationship. The cool thing is when you do love yourself, this is what's so amazing when people just understand this, because I learned from Abraham Hicks that you can attract any relationship that you want. And it's not just a spouse. It could be like a business partnership. I mean, I definitely attracted the greatest business partnership in the world with Emmanuel Zavaios and really what we're doing with Inside Out. Now, I didn't plan on that. I just focused on myself. I had to go through my own transformation, and voila, here you are. And I wouldn't even know you if it didn't happen. But at the same time, we can attract spouses and stuff. But once people really understand that, so how do we understand that? It's simple. What you're saying, I know it sounds cliche. I know it's what I said on CNN. It's what I said on national television. The you versus you battle is really starting to love yourself. You have to really understand it. Yeah. So how do we love ourselves? Well, let's just take you versus your health. You just talked about it. When we see overweight people, obese people, okay, they don't love themselves. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if you're saying, oh, Todd's being mean. Anyone that's massively overweight doesn't love themselves. I don't care what anyone says. When you truly love yourself, you're going to hit the gym. You're going to get on that treadmill. You're going to and it's not for looks. It's because when you're overweight, just like my dog, he's 7 pounds overweight. The problem with dogs, if they're overweight for a while, their hips start to really wreak havoc and they can die early. So tell me about your relationship with your health and how it started to get that discipline, which builds the self-confidence in other areas of your life, and how important that is to you right at this moment for a full transformation. Because not only are you transforming, but you share, you're also helping other people now. So you're now being a leader because you've guided yourself, and you've won a lot of these battles of you versus you, but now you're actually adding value to others. So tell me, how does that feel? How is that fulfilled for you? And is it really that hard to eat the salad as opposed to the chocolate all the time? Is it really that hard?
Well, dark chocolate is my weakness.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, I guess to start off, it feels amazing, right? Like when you fully can step into your power and love yourself and help other people and live in your purpose, it's amazing. And there's no amount of anything that can tempt me out of that, like, blissful bubble that I'm in, right?
Right.
But in the beginning, it's definitely hard. And, I tell a lot of my clients, a lot of my moms, that it's hard at the beginning of the day when you're like, I have to make lunches and I have to do, all this kid stuff, and I got to do laundry. And, even taking 10 minutes for yourself seems so overwhelming. It's like, I can't leave my kids alone for 10 minutes. I'm going to have to go to the ER after that. Like, my house is going to burn down.
Right.
Like, something's going to happen to the dog. Like, I can't, And so I always tell my moms, start with 3 minutes a day. Like, take 3 minutes of your morning and just unplug. Like, I promise you, your kids will be okay without you. The laundry will be there. The dishes will be there. Your spouse will be there. Take 3 minutes for you. and just sit there and focus on your breathing. It's hard to tell somebody who has never meditated, go meditate for 20 minutes. They're going to think of every squirrel distraction in the world. So I always say, start with 3 minutes. And every day I want you to add a minute, and then at the end of the week, you're at, 7 minutes or 10 minutes or, whatever it is. And, pretty soon after 2 or 3 weeks, these moms are like, I have 25 minutes to myself. Like, I can't live without it,
Right.
And once that's part of your routine, it's easy to get the kids and, spouse and family used to that. Like my son knows, like, mommy wakes up, she does her meditation, she does her yoga, she does her journaling,
Exactly. Well, as a parent too, you got to understand, like, one of my favorite things about leadership is I would rather watch a leader than listen to a leader. And, model, right? If the word model is, we are modeling as parents to our kids. So one of the things that I'm so proud of is every day my kids see me work out. Every day my kids see me meditate. Every day my kids see me put the dishes away, clean the kitchen, vacuum, pick up after myself. I don't have to tell them. So as a parent, and this is just more of just for everyone that's watching, when you say, I don't have 5 minutes, I don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. You don't have a life. If you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, how can you be a great parent when you don't have 10 minutes to meditate, when you don't have 45 minutes to work out? I mean, it's not that hard. I have 3 kids too. You just give them an iPhone for 45 minutes. Okay. It's not that hard.
iPad.
Yeah. An iPad. Okay. They watch your show. It's censored, you got to have time for yourself. Right. So I love that. Well, let's, in the last couple minutes here before we, share where people could follow you on your Instagram. And of course, we're here on Facebook. Tell me a little bit about your recent decision to join the Inside Out Institute and what that means to you, and just really what you're excited about with just how you're really able to make even bigger impact, or however you want to word that. I'm not sure. I don't want to take words out of your own mouth or anything like that, but just from your own perspective, is anything kind of shifted in your life a little bit? I know you've been in it for like a couple weeks, but what's anything that you want to share about that?
Oh man. There's like so much. I just, from like the depths of my soul, feel so like fortunate and so like blessed to have been brought and attracted into this group. It's so amazing because having done, personal development and leadership and stuff like that, it's always a battle between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And,
yes.
I think it's like so awesome that, we are merging them together and doing both sides, because you can do all the conscious work in the world, but if your subconscious doesn't accept it and you can't change your subconscious, then it's pointless. Your subconscious rules 95% of your life, and your conscious only like 5% or something. And so I can't even imagine like going back to what you do matters. Like every decision we make, every person we talk to, like there's just so many amazing things that can and will come from this, just from us taking that action, from your vision to bringing it into reality, and then having this family come together where we can, just change so many lives. And I know we all have our own purpose and our own passion, and it's crazy that so many of us can come together with different things for one common like goal. It's just awesome. Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it kind of blows my mind too, because, for my whole life, I'm 39 years old. I've always been a driver. I've always been like conscious, action, you versus you. But I've never really had that true happiness, because I've always was like, I got to get more. I filled with anxiety, or I didn't have inner peace. But the moment that you get inner peace on the emotional side, where your emotional traumas are starting to dwindle, and, and you're just becoming just cool. Like, and I think the greatest thing in life is when you don't need anybody, when you're just like, oh, I'll be single, I'll be married, I don't care, I'm happy.
You're just like content. You have that like inner joy.
Your inner joy, and then add that to a plan on the conscious side of like, here's how you hit your goals, and what are your goals, and what's your strategies, and getting that clarity when you don't have that emotional trauma anymore, and you're just like, well, the sky's the limit. The real sky is really the limit. I just love it because I've been on more of the conscious side, but having both now with the emotion code meets you versus you, it's just phenomenal. So, hey, where can people follow you? I know you have an awesome Instagram page. I know obviously here just your first and last name on Facebook, but what's your handle on Instagram, and anything else that you want to share before we end the interview today?
Yeah, I hang out all over the place. Like social media is kind of my jam lately. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram is XO_love_Cheri.
Okay.
Or my last name is not very common. If you just search Cheri Toftdahl, I'm the only one that comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can hang out on Instagram with me or Facebook, and I have a website too. Again, just Cheri Toftdahl. So.
Cool. And Cheri's really good at leadership, guys. I mean, she is, as you can tell, she's a very strong, confident woman. And she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. I mean, the Inside Out Institute really is so excited about her being one of our top leadership transformational coaches within the Institute all over the world. So reach out to her. If you have any questions, she's there to serve. And check her out on XO_love_Cheri.
Yeah, like wow. XO love Cheri, except I had to throw some underscores in there to make it difficult,
Right, yeah, right. Well, anyway, Cheri's awesome, and we're just so fortunate and so grateful for you to even know you. And thank you so much for your leadership. Thanks so much for being on this today. Always a pleasure to talk with you. And just keep up the great work. And thanks so much for adding value today on this interview.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And we're going to be back tomorrow night with another woman who is from New Zealand. And she's going to be chiming in on Thursday morning, but it's going to be Wednesday night here, 7 Central on the You vs. You show. She has an amazing story. So we're going to hear from her tomorrow. Thursday, we have a master NLP practitioner, Aaron Barry. And then on Friday, we have somebody we're interviewing from Sweden. So we got a great show lined up for each and every one of you. Thanks so much for being on. Cheri, thanks again for being on tonight. You guys have a great night. I got to head to date night right now. So thanks so much for being on.
Bye.